We are more than just a radio station. We are a part of your life.
Yes, a beautiful morning as we start off with our a program on radio Insight on Citizen FM 93.7. My name is Lawrernce. Omoette. Welcome to Insight. Over the years, especially in the past decade, Nigeria has been confronted with more security challenges that have stretched the capacity of the military as an institution. And the country has also been faced with dwindling manpower in its security agencies, which has led to calls for more collaboration and synergy among the security actors. But despite the heavy presence of the military and its joint operations, conflicts seem to persist, and the capacity of the military to curtail them, sometimes for some citizens, seem threatened. On Insight today, we intend to examine the challenges of internal security operations in the country, from the insurgency in the northeast to the banditry in the northwest to kidnapping to cattle rustling. The list is on. And our guest is fit for this discussion on the program. He's already seated in the studio. His name is Brigadier General Sani Usman, retired. Welcome to Insight, sir.
Good morning, Lawrence, and good morning, everyone.
Yes, Brigadier General Usman is a former director of Army Public Relations. He is a holder of Bachelor of Arts degree in Mass Communication, and he also has a Master's degree in Media, Peace and Conflict Studies. He is a fellow of the Nigerian Institute of Public Relations and a member of the prestigious National Institute for Policy and Strategic Studies in CHOS. General Usman also chairs the Crisis Communication, Public Relations and Security Studies session of the National Open University. Once again, welcome to the show, General.
Thank you so much.
You can join our show on our live stream on YouTube. Just type in Insight. Insight, you will be part of this show from anywhere in the world. And also, you can follow us online on www.citizenfm.ng. Our social media platforms are also there for your interaction. On Facebook at Citizen FM Abuja, on Instagram at Citizen FM 937, and also on X at Citizen FM 937. At 10:30 we will open the phone lines, but for now there are a lot of issues to discuss with General Usman. Straight up, General, for someone who was almost, I should say, hyperactive during your military days, how was the transition from managing the image of the Nigerian Army to a relatively serene life of retirement?
Well, I think I will just say that I'm grateful to God, and I was prepared for it because it is the ambition of every officer, every soldier that enlisted or that is commissioned, that you have a very successful tour of duty or military service and also retire voluntarily. And that was exactly what happened. So I know I started with a civil life, and eventually you have to go back. So psychologically you have to prepare yourself and materially, and over time you keep on hoping and praying that it will be your turn. And when it was my turn, the transition was smooth. And most importantly, if you take time to do whatever you're doing and build yourself, you won't have an idle moment in your life. Take, for instance, I just expected that I could be so busy in retirement than when I was in the military. You know, so many engagements. By the way, I did not stay long with the National Open University.
Okay.
Currently, I'm a consultant, Director of Corporate Affairs and Information Services at the Nigerian Army Resource Center, Abuja, which is more or less like the think tank for the Nigerian Army. And I'm even acting now as Director Quality Assurance, Linkages and Collaborations. But beyond that, again, there are opportunities, you know, presenting papers within the country and outside, and of course engagement with media and so on. So basically there is, in fact, I had wanted to even retire into farming, but this engagement couldn't allow me, you know, to do what I really wanted to do. So it was a smooth transition, and I find it very, very adventurous and exciting, just like the military service that I had for over 35 years.
Maybe your constituency needed you more than the farm.
Possibly.
Anyway, that's good. So that means there's no dull moment for you. We are looking at the challenges of security, insecurity in Nigeria. And let's start this way. General, is Nigeria's security challenge insurmountable?
Not at all. Not at all. And instead of us to be pessimistic, we should be optimistic. Yesterday, I was discussing with a member of the National Assembly, and we were discussing, I said, look, if we are determined, we can easily solve the security challenges. But let's look at it this way. The population of this country is approximately 200 million, right? Now, let's assume that 50 million are outside or are in diaspora. It's just a raw estimate, okay? So we have 150 million of us staying in this country. Are those the bad guys, the criminal elements within the society, right from the insurgency, terrorism, banditry, kidnapping, those that are perpetrating it? They are not up to 1 million. So why should it, and that's an insignificant number of people,
Not up to 1%.
not up to 1%, will constitute an impediment to the will of progress, peace, and security in this country? I think the issue now, yes, some of the security challenges were kind of novelty, because if you take terrorism, 25 years ago, nobody could, in fact, maybe 20 years ago, nobody could imagine Nigeria could be, will experience what it experienced with Boko Haram, or even, let's start with Mutalab. So, but here we are. So it's happened and it become reality. What are we doing? Knowing fully well that certain countries that experience, take for instance, Colombia had problem with insurgency with the FARC for over 58 years. But Nigeria, here we are, within a little over a decade, we are able to subdue the insurgent to this extent. Remember, they were holding territories, local governments, and all the rest. But that is no more. So that means you compare not what is it that is the best way to deal with it and what is it that is not working. But we all understand that there are certain missing links. You know, so much emphasis on the kinetic, but we know the counter-insurgency effort is predicated on three things: to defeat them, create room for humanitarian activities, and then thirdly, for governance to take place. And these things are there. So you now emphasize on whole society approach, the emphasizing on kinetic and going more on non-kinetic in dealing with the security challenges. Because even Colombia, at the end of the day, the final solution was sitting on the table. So much as I think it's a delicate balancing of using both the stick and the carrots. And there are instances the sticks works better, and there are instances actually the carrot works better. So a combination of that. And one other thing is the component of Nigerian society, be it young or old, male or female, everybody has a role to play. But then a lot of people, so much as they are willing to contribute meaningfully, they don't even know how to. So we have to emphasize on security education, but beyond security education, we have to empower the people. Yes, I know. What do I do? Who do I report to? And what happens to me? These are the issues that we should take. And then improving the capacity of the security agencies, right from the first line responders up to, the military and, other security agencies. Now, if you go back, there is no country that doesn't have police. There are still countries without police. In fact, I kept on saying, even the Vatican has police. Saudi Arabia has police. But I know Costa Rica doesn't even have armed forces. So what do you do with your policing system? I think in finding a solution to a problem, you have to ask the question why and how did it emanate. We neglected our policing system over time. And if you look at it from 1999 to date, to what extent have we invested in our policing system in terms of the number of policemen and women, in terms of their training, in terms of their welfare, in terms of their equipment? And now we are in the fourth industrial revolution, and beyond that, 21st century. The criminal is far more sophisticated, unlike in the past. And ideally, the policing system should be ahead of the criminal, because part of it is to detect, prevent. So have you prepared your policemen and women to prevent or to detect and prevent criminal activities in this modern day? So unless we address that, and which I think it's possible, we will be having the security challenges. Now, apart from that also, we look at other components of Nigerian society that we have neglected. Almost 60-something% of the population of this country is made up of the youth. What are you doing about it? In terms of education, in terms of employment opportunities, in terms of other opportunities, so that he or she could aspire, so that nobody will tempt them. They say an idle mind is the devil's workshop. Then the other issue is that security challenges are predicated on three things: the political landscape, the economic, and the social well-being of the society. To what extent that we have stable political system and the economic as well as the social well-being of the citizen being enhanced. So unless we look at all these things, we'll still have a problem. But that notwithstanding, I'm still optimistic. These issues are surmountable. And luckily enough, we have wonderful armed forces and security forces. All we need to do is to give them the right equipment, the strategic direction. But of course, we have to also help by dealing with issues before they escalate. Take, for instance, if I go back to political. Now we have 3 tiers of government: the federal, state, and the local government. You know it, I know it. Local government, they only exist in name. So if we empower the local government, make them more autonomous, most of the security challenges emanated from local communities that could have been dealt with at local level. But now the local government system is almost non-existent, talk less of, being alive to its responsibility, dealing with this issue before they escalate. You lump it to the state that is being overwhelmed, and then federal government. And that is why state governors, whenever they have one security challenge or the other, the next thing you see them in defense or army headquarters or at the presidency looking for the deployment of the military. When under normal circumstances, addressing these issues that borders on basic bare necessities of
Social
life.
issues.
Yes. So these are the issues.
Okay, General, you've pretty much laid the foundation for the discussion. In fact, you've covered a lot of ground, but I want us to look at some specifics now. You are not just, at least when you were in the army, not just a communication expert, you are also a public relations person. What is the narrative you think the current government should be employing in tackling this situation? Because it's not just a military or security issue, it's also a media war to compare, because those guys too employ the use of the media. What would you suggest?
Well, I think the government is doing the best it could, and it's not even an issue of suggestion. And by the way, I've been in public relations all my life. Currently, I am a fellow of the institute and a member of the governing council. So I am quite aware of the happenings. But the long and short of it is that when you talk about war against who? And that is where we are missing out. Bulk of these security challenges we are dealing with fellow citizens. They do not come from the sky. They have brothers, they have sisters, in most instances they have spouses, and all the rest, they have friends. Now, the government is doing the right thing by now having specifically Ministry of Information and National Orientation. And we have to reorient the citizens so that they will also be alive. So much as they have their, rights and privileges, there are equally civic duties and responsibilities associated with it. So that is the starting point. And secondly, experience has shown when you are forthright with the citizens, they will definitely assist you as much as they could. Take, for instance, when I was Director of Army Public Relations, and like in the past, we don't hide anything. Bearing exigencies of security requirement, whatever happened, whether we had an upper hand or we suffered losses or casualties, we are forthright with the people. And we enjoy tremendous support and cooperation from the people. And that is how it's supposed to be. Then, most importantly, again, the thing is that there are certain things that have to go simultaneously. So much as you are talking about being forthright and all the rest, you have to also address issues associated with the security agencies themselves. Do they lack equipment? What is their welfare? And so on. But then what of the people that gives out information? Because everything is predicated on timely and accurate intelligence and information. But it is not good enough if the people who are supposed to act on that, they are not, they lack the capacity to do so. So it is a collective thing that needs to go. So it is not just issue of narrative. You could have a narrative. What purpose will it serve when the reality on the ground is different? So they have to complement each other. So whatever you're doing at the same time or saying should be matched by actions that are tangible that people could see.
Okay, General, I want to talk about collaboration. I know that this has featured severally, collaboration amongst the sister agencies and everything. But I want us to be specific. Data harmonization amongst the sister agencies, background checks. A lot of people have said that these are the the heart of the problem. Sharing intelligence among sister agencies, devoid of the usual, I won't say usual, devoid of the kind of suspicion that used to be in the past. We understand that those things have been worked on now. I don't know how far, but how important is this in the fight against insurgency, insecurity, and all that?
It's absolutely important. Absolutely. Interagency cooperation, collaboration, and coordinations are equally important. And this cannot be overemphasized. And I know that even where I consult now at the Nigerian Army Resource Center on weekly basis or twice in a week, we deal with issues and the recurring decimal the worrisome issue of the 3 C's, cooperation, collaboration, and coordination, not just necessarily among the security agencies, but the components of Nigerian society. And going back to harmonization, I think I know that 2018, when I had the privilege of being a member of senior executive course, 40 at National Institute of Policy and Strategic Studies, Kuru, we interrogated the internal security framework and community policing in this country. We consider policy options and recommendation as well implementation strategy. It's more or less for 1 year. We've been to over 40 agencies, ministry, department, and agencies in this country, 12 states of the Federation, 6 African countries, and 6 other countries of the world. And we came up with a report with recommendation that emphasized on the issue of community policing as well as this interagency cooperation, collaboration, and coordination. And to support that, the National Security Strategy 2019 emphasized on this. In fact, it made an impetus for the creation of a joint clearinghouse, which is yet to emanate. Now, lack of this synergy of efforts hamper effective security in this country, in the sense that some of them are operating in silos, and it is not just the security agencies but the whole gamut of the criminal justice system in this country and other agencies. In fact, what we recommended was that there should be one single security agency at the airport. By the time you slot your passport, the Controller General of Immigration, the Director General SSS, the Director General NIA, and any other person that has to do with security, including the Inspector General of Police, they will understand. A passport that is flagged, instantly each and every one of them will see. And they will act. And we came to this based on, best practices we have seen elsewhere. Take, for instance, in Italy, where I went to, an average police patrol vehicle is equipped with computer, with camera, with telephone and everything. So a policeman on patrol doesn't need to go to any station. If there is any problem, all he needs to do is to look at your number plate and run it into the system. By the time he runs everything about you, social security number, everything, where you reside, everything. It may sound like a police state. So with that, you can be able, even if someone commits a crime, you can be able to get him or her. But here we are, because of lack of harmonization of data, someone can easily commit an offense in Lugbe. By the time you move to Cuba, that's the end of it. Simply because, but unfortunately, every day we kept on, collecting this information. The banks collect, NIMSI collect. Anywhere you go, fingerprint and everything. I think we need to harmonize it so that we can be able to compare data. But it is not just enough to have the data. You also need to empower the agencies. Take, for instance, what happened to Forensic Investigation Department. Was a criminal. It's not a spirit. Anytime they commit crime, they must leave a piece of evidence on the ground. It could be saliva, it could be hair, it could be footprint, it could be sweat, it could be. So when you have the technology to compare, you can be able to solve it. So the issue of data harmonization is very important. So much, it's the same time with interagency cooperation, collaboration, and coordination. They should bring, the most important thing. What are your strengths? You bring it on board. The other one bring it on board, and there is what in number. So basically that is it. And take, for instance, again, even on the criminal justice system, what is the level of cooperation between the correctional service and the Nigerian police force? So these are the issues, but it is not just enough. Do they have an interministerial department? They sit and deal with the security challenges
Okay.
at that level.
General, if this is taken for granted, I'm sure that your colleagues in the military currently and in the sister agencies, everyone agrees to this. But why is it difficult to put this into practice?
I think one is the issue of inter-agency rivalry, and secondly, possibly ignorance in the sense that you know that your well-being and very survival is hinge on my own survival. Therefore, we ought to join hands together, because once there is collaboration, a lot of resources could be, saved, because you bring what's instead of duplicating or we have having overlapping functions and mandate, we harmonize. So there will be cooperation, and it will ease resources, both human and material. Because, and again, even it will save cost. Because if this one has that, there is no point for the other one. All you need to do is to call it as when you, at the various level, either operational or tactical, or even at a strategic level. So it's very important. But the good thing about it is that a lot is being done, in the sense that there are courses being run, even at the Nigerian Army Resource Center, emphasizing on these interagencies, and we make sure that courses are spread, not necessarily among the security agencies, but the Nigerian society, because we have seen how it worked by involving all other stakeholders, so that you will have a fair understanding what the capacities are, or capabilities of a particular agencies, and how best you can complement them. But it is not just them, even other components. Take, for instance, National Union of Road Transport Workers. They are spread all over the country. They traverse the length and breadth of this country through their drivers. They see things, they hear things. To what extent are you involving them in the security architecture? What of the youth groups? Because they know themselves better, in the sense that most of the criminal activities are people below the age of 40. So these are the issues. So much as you talk about the security agencies, there is also carrying the whole component of Nigerian society on board in dealing with the security challenges. And that will bring accountability, because if I know and I realize you are not doing the right thing, I will voice it out, even if I don't have the authority to check you. So, and if you know that I'm watching, others are watching, you will be doing the right thing. We have had instances in the past where people were working in the silos, and at the end of the day, the average Nigerian is the one that is worse off it. So it is very important that we emphasize and enhance on the interagency cooperation, collaboration, and coordination.
All right, thank you, General. We need to take a short break, and when we return, we will look at some other specific issues. If you're just joining us, it's Insight on Citizen FM 93.7, and our guest has been Brigadier General Sani Usman, former Director of Army Public Relations, and also a public relations legend, so to speak. He's also a fellow of the Nigerian Institute of Public Relations and member of the Nigerian Institute of Policy and Strategic Studies. The program will return in a moment. Please don't go away.
Hello, Abuja. You are listening to 93.7 Citizen FM, the latest radio station based in Nigeria's capital. Our station seeks to broadcast a broad mix of culture and views, with priority given to development programming to enable residents share ideas and opinions, music and drama. At Citizen FM, we believe in progressive talk and solution-driven conversation. Our aim is to build a united Nigeria by bringing people of diverse culture together through communication. Enjoy listening to 93.7 Citizen FM. We are more than just a radio station. We are a part of your life.
Here comes the People's Security Monitor on your classy Citizen FM 93.7, a program designed to serve as a platform to raise suggestions on how best to improve Nigeria's security system in collaboration with our security agencies and the citizenry. Every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 11 a.m. to 12 noon on 93.7 Citizen FM, Abuja. Remember, Nigeria's security is our collective responsibility.
For UTME into Nigerian tertiary institutions begins January 15th to February 26th, 2024. Please check with NIMSI to ensure that all data agrees with your details. Each candidate must create a profile using a phone number not previously used by other candidates. Send your NIN by SMS text to either 55019 or 66019 to generate the profile code. A profile code of 10 characters is received by the candidate in same phone number, which is presented to purchase the UTME e-pin. Registration fee inclusive of all relevant charges is 7,700 naira with mock exam or 6,200 naira without mock exam. Center and back charges of 2,700 naira and 4,200 naira respectively have been included in the fees to be collected and will be remitted to the center. JAMB will be providing the e-copy of the reading text free to the candidates through the following approved channels: JAMB website, candidate's email, candidate profile, and the QR code on the registration slip. Direct entry registration starts February 28th to March 28th, 2024.
JAMB, enhancing academic excellence.
Thank you so much for staying tuned. It's still Insights on Citizen FM 93.7. My name is Lawrernce Omoette. My guest is still in the studio and we are talking national security. Brigadier General Sonny Usman, former Director, Army Public Relations. Thank you for staying tuned, sir.
Thank you so much, sir.
All right. The phone lines are open now. You can be part of the show. You can call us on 0903 2229797. That's 0903 2229797 or 0818 2222205. Or you can also call us on 0818 2222206. You can send us a WhatsApp message on any of these numbers and we will be glad to read them. Just let us know where you are writing in from. And don't forget that our live stream is also on YouTube. You can join us by typing in Insight and you will be part of this show. And also you can interact with us on our social media platforms, on Facebook at Citizen FM Abuja, on Instagram at Citizen FM 937, and also on X at Citizen FM 937. General, let's look at this. As part of the literature by a lot of Nigerians, both experts and public commentators, on how to find a solution to the problem of insecurity in the country, some people have also touted a decentralized security system. How easy should I say, or maybe I should say, how complicated would this be in the scenario?
But, excuse me, both centralized and decentralized, possibly you might be talking about the policing system. They have their advantages and disadvantages. But if you look back, we have had the centralized system, and everything is going on fine. But the truth is that I think we neglected some aspect of it to the point. You remember, way back I was asking to what extent we have invested in our policing system within the last 20 years in terms of human resources and other things. Now, those are the things that have been neglected. And the fear about the centralized system is the fact that given the way the operators of the system, those in political authorities, they might not use it judiciously. We have had instances where people that have control over the coercive agencies use it to antagonize members of the opposition and all the rest. So that is the fear. But beyond that, there is nothing wrong with it. But I think there is need to strengthen and enhance our policing system. We should not look at it as if structure of the military. No. In the past, we have only the Inspector General of Police, the Commissioners of Police, Divisional Police Officers, and those in charge of outposts. And Nigeria was better secured. So what happened now?
That's the question.
So I think, and you look at even the mobile police force, it's a kind of a layer of policing system. When, the normal structure is overwhelmed, the mobile police is called and they will deal with the problem, restore law and order, and life goes on. So we neglected that aspect, and that is why we are paying for it. And again, instead of policing the whole Nigerian society, but now it has been segmented to individuals, we tend to emphasize on things that are not supposed to be emphasized on. But most importantly, it's not just the policing system. We have to also look at other things. What is the current socio-economic status of an average citizen of the country? So that he or she will focus more on, daily routines of life, aspiring to whoever or whatever she wants to become in life. These are the issues. So these complement each other. But I think we need to enhance the system, as it were, and looking at right from the legal framework. Take, for instance, we have so many structures controlling the policing system. You have the police council, which is a constitutional creation. How many times has it been sitting? Maybe. How regular? Which the membership composed of even the state governors. So issues could have been trashed. Then you have the Police Service Commission. You have the Minister of Police Affairs. Then you have the Inspector General of Police. So there are overlapping mandates. And unless we harmonize these aspects and properly coordinate it, then we'll have a better cell.
Okay, General, I keep coming. You have a public relations background. And so, how do we enhance military-civilian relations? Because you spoke about that earlier when you were narrating how issues could be resolved. But specifically, with your background in focus, how do you think this can be done seamlessly?
A lot of is being done. In fact, it started almost 24 years ago. I know for the Nigerian military, they went through a transformation program for 15 years. Between 2000 to 2015, which include attitudinal change, doctrinal change, and so many and so forth. But the issue is, how can you transform in isolation with the Nigerian society? And I know, even at the advent of the present democratic dispensation, seminars, conferences, and courses were held in respect of reporting the military in a democratic society and so on, capacity building and what have you. Those things ought to have also permeated the Nigerian society. To understand the nuances of democracy is bureaucratic, and we have to be tolerant, and we have to be patient, and we have to be more understanding and cooperative. So, with that at the back of your mind, of course, the military will subject itself to, the political authority. Now, the Constitution is very clear who is the President, Commander-in-Chief, and his powers, and the creation of the armed forces and the rest. And they have gone out of their way to create various departments, both at the Defense and Services Headquarters, Department of Civil Military Affairs, complementing the information and public relations outfit they have. That interface a strategic operational, almost at tactical level. I know for Nigerian Army, it went further to create initially the complaint decks, eventually human rights decks, and coming up with a 3-digit number, I think 193, which is toll-free. It's all part of effort to enhance civil-military relations, but above all, again, out of their meager resources, they come out with humanitarian activities intervening in infrastructural developments, in education, healthcare, water supply, and what have you. And that is why in most instances, all the exercises, field training exercises, is always accompanied by quick impact projects. And sensitization are going on. So these are efforts aimed at enhancing. But of course, again, this effort need to be understood, need to be complemented by the wider society. In fact, recently I gave a paper in Sokoto and I advocate for even statutory allocation for the military, for civil-military relations, so that it will further enhance this relationship. But again, most importantly, is the issue of sensitization, particularly among the people that have the powers of the broadcast and the print media. We have had unfortunate incident, and Uncle was saying that the military does not know how to use drones. And his opinion matters. But he ought to have understood, Lieutenant Colonel, there is nobody in the military that I know that will attain the rank of a lieutenant colonel and equivalent in the Army, Navy, and Air Force that doesn't have a master's degree. In most instances outside the country. In fact, we have some of them, they are even professors at the rank of lieutenant colonel. Many with PhD. And in the first place, who are the pilots operating these aircrafts, making sacrifices and all that? So it's just a matter of understanding also. And that is what I mean by complementing the sacrifices. It is not even the military personnel. You can imagine yourself being a woman, married to a soldier, an airman, Navy, deployed in the Northeast for a year or two. You have not seen the person. You have not seen the person. And he is there for the sake of the Nigerian society, and this is how it's supposed to be. And again, we have had instances, some people who are saying that the military are no good, they can go to the farms and all the rest. No, you have to understand, and that is why enlightenment is very important. There is no single component of Nigerian society that is better than the other. We should understand national development or building a nation is a collective responsibility. We are not equally so endured, so each and every one will bring the much he or she can offer so that we can build a better nation. So it's just a question of understanding. They are doing the best they could, but this also the leaders continuously be given strategic direction and enhance the relationship, and the citizens, and to the credit of citizens, actually they are doing the best they could wherever they know. And what we want to reach that zenith. I know in other countries, I think I was in Saudi Arabia at the immigration, they were checking our distance. I think I was either a major or a lieutenant colonel. By the time they knew that I was a military officer in the Nigeria Armed Forces, honestly, they waved me through. And it happened in the United States.
I've also,
to me personally, and I've seen several instances, and that is what but again, even the corporations, I mean multinationals and all the rest, they can, the little they could to support, and most importantly, to understand that these guys in the military are doing the best they could for the benefit of the Nigerian state. All they need is understanding and cooperation, and they too, to whom much is given, much is expected. They should remain apolitical, very professional, and pride of the nation.
I agree with you, General, because I remember about 12 years ago, I was in Sao Paulo in Brazil, waiting at the airport for customs processes, and we had to be practically shoved aside because some military men were returning from their tour of duty, and the whole airport erupted in applause and waved them as they filed through. And even though I wasn't a Brazilian, but I felt
so happy.
I felt happy and proud with the way.
As if you should join the military.
Well, it was too late then. So, General, as we round up, this brings me, because I know that there was a time that the military institution was almost like a phenomenon of maybe unimaginable proportion. During crisis, people seek shelter in military barracks for safety.
Up to now.
Attacking a military institution was unthinkable. You there know it didn't happen. But today, I don't know, is it because that the military has been so stretched and put in everything drawn up? There is a protest of 20 people in the street, and the next thing is that, let's bring in the military and stuff like this. How did we get here?
That is why I said we neglected the time-tested complete resolution mechanism, and go back to what I said about security challenges emanating from these three cardinal points: the political, economic, and social atmosphere. By the time the citizens are we go back to the time-tested complete resolution mechanism, at rudimentary level, at the family level. If everybody is doing the basic goal, problems that could not go beyond the family, they will not go to police station. But today, even among brothers and sisters, they draw not even machete, they pull out gun. So this is the issue. And but beyond that, if we strengthen our local government system, and if we enhance the welfare of the people so that each and everyone will contribute, it will place less emphasis on, bringing in the security forces in dealing with security challenges. Because before they escalate, they can easily be detected and prevented. So you might not even have a need to call a police officer, talk less of deploying the military. And these things can easily be done. We have not been talking to ourselves.
Okay, General, anytime we have the privilege of having a serving or retired military officer, I always ask this question, because I know when you sign up for the military, you're ready to lay your life. Who does that? What comes to your mind? How can somebody voluntarily decide, I'm ready to lay my life?
Love for the nation, love for the people. That even at family level, let's look at it. If you regard Nigerians as part of your family, wouldn't you protect them even at the expense of your life? So basically, that is the thinking. Patriotism, love for humanity, that somebody somewhere has to sacrifice for the benefit of others. And basically, that is it.
Thank you so much, General. It's been such a pleasure listening to you and tapping from your wealth of experience, especially when you were serving, and you're still serving your fatherland now. Brigadier General Sani Usman, former Director, Army Public Relations. Thank you so much, sir, for your interventions on
Thank you
Insight.
so much. It's a great pleasure and honor for me to be here too. Thank you so much.
All right, that's our package on Insight today. The program returns tomorrow with another edition. My name is Lawrernce Omoette. People's Security Monitor comes up next. Please don't go away.